Let's say you had a piece of paper in your hand and you're welcome to try this out. Now, fold that piece of paper in half. Fold it again and again. Imagine you could fold that piece of paper 50 times over. How thick do you think it would be? Think about it for a second. Do you think it would be a few inches, maybe the height of a table or a building? Let me tell you the shocking answer. If you could fold a piece of paper 50 times, and you surely can't, it would be over 113 million kilometers thick. If you folded it one more time, that would be more than the distance from the Earth to the Sun. If you don't believe me, you're welcome to Google it or try out the maths yourself later, but it's true. Each fold doubles the thickness, and that exponential growth leads to unimaginable results which may not be obvious in the first few folds. Now I'll tell you another story that mirrors this idea, and that's the story of the Chinese bamboo tree. When you plant a Chinese bamboo seed, you water it, fertilize it, and care for it just like you do to any other plant. But for the first 4 years, you see absolutely nothing above the ground. No sprouts, no growth, nothing. But something that seems like a miracle happens in the 5th year. The plant suddenly shoots up and grows as much as 90 feet in just 6 weeks. A neutral observer who sees the sudden growth may think it was an overnight success, but not the farmer. The farmer understands the pain of building without visible growth for 5 years. The farmer understands how much his patience and faith were tested in those 4 years of no visible growth. But the farmer trusted the process because he knew from the very beginning that his journey was different from that of a maize farmer, for instance, who would have harvested up to 10 or more times in that same interval. Were those 4 years silent? Not really. Beneath the surface, the bamboo is growing an extensive root system that is not visible to the outside world. But as soon as the root is ready, exponential growth happens literally overnight, and that's really what precedes overnight success. So what do these two stories have in common? They both teach us about the power of small, consistent actions and the incredible results they can produce over time. Let's outline a few takeaways from these stories. Number 1, understand the place of solid foundations. In the story of the Chinese bamboo, 90 feet of growth is like erecting a high-rise building, which requires a deep foundation to hold it in place. Anyone who has ever had to build a house with multiple floors understands this. So if you are building to scale, you cannot equate your journey with someone who is building something small. So it's also important that you understand the nature of your journey from the beginning, or you may end up thinking that you are doing something wrong and start to feel discouraged. In addition, you must be able to distinguish between when you need a change of strategy and when you just need to keep going and trust the process. Number 2, know when to stay on the ground. Our constant craving for visibility may make us reveal our strategy too early when the foundation is not solid. Sometimes, you need to build silently and shock the world with your results. When we see athletes win races or achieve remarkable feats in front of the world, it's important to remember that what we see is only evidence of what took place behind the scenes. The real win usually takes place long before they get on the track. Number 3, small actions compound over time. Just like folding a piece of paper or watering a bamboo seed, small, consistent efforts may seem insignificant at first, but when you stick with them, they compound. Whether it's learning a new skill, building a business, or working on a relationship, you might not see results immediately, but the little things you do every day add up. For instance, if you read just 10 pages of a book daily, that is 3,650 pages in a year, roughly 12 books. Small actions, when repeated consistently, lead to big results. However, because we live in a world of instant gratification, it's easy to underestimate the power of small actions because the results aren't immediate. But real growth doesn't work that way. It's like planting a seed and expecting it to grow into a tree overnight. But if you keep watering it, sooner or later, the tree will appear. Number 4, growth isn't always visible. The Chinese bamboo story reminds us that just because you can't see progress, it doesn't mean it's not happening. Sometimes The most important work is happening beneath the surface. Whether it's building habits, developing skills, or laying the foundation for something big, don't get discouraged if you don't see immediate results. Keep going. If you've ever tried to start working out, maybe you want to shed some weight or you just want to stay fit, the first day will feel like hell. You feel like quitting after only a few tries. But if you keep at it, those consistent efforts begin to show after some time as your body transforms. How about learning a new language? You might not feel fluent after a few weeks, but with daily practice, one day you realize that you can hold a conversation effortlessly. The key is to trust the process. Even when it feels like you're not making progress, remember, the bamboo is growing its roots. Number 5, the tipping point. I read the paper fold illustration years ago from Malcolm Gladwell's book called The Tipping Point. The two illustrations we used underpin the concept of the tipping point, the moment when small efforts lead to massive breakthrough. For the paper, it's the 50th fold. For the bamboo, it's the 5th year. In your own life, the tipping point might come after months or even years of efforts. But when it does, the results can be transformative. The tipping point is real, but it requires patience and persistence. You have to keep folding the paper and keep watering the bamboo, even when it feels like nothing is happening. So how can you apply this to your own life? Start small, or start now. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Whether it's writing, saving money, or learning a new skill, start with small, manageable steps, and then be consistent. Focus on doing the small things well, day after day. Consistency is more important than intensity. The third tip is to track your progress. Sometimes, growth is hard to see in the moment, but you can keep a journal or a tracker so you occasionally remind yourself how far you've come. And lastly, trust the process. Even when progress feels slow or invisible, remember that you are building your root system. The breakthrough will come. Life is full of paper folding moments and bamboo growing seasons. The question is, will you stick with it long enough to see the results? Will you keep folding and keep watering even when it feels like nothing is happening? Because when you do, the results can be extraordinary. So the next time you feel like giving up on a goal or a dream, remember that small, consistent actions over time can lead to astonishing results. If you are nurturing a Chinese bamboo tree and someone else is nurturing maize, you can't let yourself be discouraged by their bountiful harvest in a short time because you are building different things. Please share this with someone, subscribe to stay updated, and until next time, keep being amazing. My name is Murphy Namdi Ochoba.